Is that the key takeaway? Draghi saying an abrupt end to the bond purchase programme is unlikely. Do we now just have to wait a couple of months to get that extension that many economists are forecasting?
Yeah, Mark, I think that's right. I mean, I would take it one step further. What Draghi really did was he put this tapering discussion that's been around for a few weeks to bed, de facto. Nobody in their right mind thought ever they were going to stop the QE program abruptly. So the question was tapering or not tapering after March, and I think almost for sure he told us that there will be no tapering after March.
Still, but as journalists and economists, Eric, we like to pontificate on when the ECB might actually taper or signal its intentions to taper. And there seems to be a consensus growing that could happen in the back end of next year, whether they start tapering or signal their intention to tapering. Is that in line with your projections?
Yeah, I mean, we don't project it as that precisely, but we assume or think that they're going to continue at the present pace through next year. I think it is quite possible come end of next year that you could see some moderate tapering starting. That depends partly on what we get in terms of fiscal stimulus during 2017 and on the world economy and many other things, but you can definitely create a plausible and probably quite likely scenario, in my opinion, where come 18, 19, you can start to see on the horizon an inflation rate that gets reasonably close to 2%, and other policy measures start to provide some of the stimulus that the ECB has been all alone about for the last 2 years.
Eric, I want to bring up something that Mario Draghi said in a very short and sweet way in response to one of the first questions at the press conference. I think we have a full screen of it. He said, "We didn't discuss tapering or the intended horizon of our asset purchase programme." How do you meet with so much speculation in the market, on the media, everywhere, and not even discuss it? Was there a deliberate, mandate from Draghi that we are not even going to touch these issues?
Yeah, I think he was a little clever with his words there. Of course, they're talking about it. I mean, they've been talking about this before they started. You don't start a program like the QE program without having conversation about how you get out and what the conditions would be and all these sort of things. How it takes shape in the governing council, I don't know. We have the committees working on it at the same time, but I think he wanted to put across quite bluntly that this leak, he even called it uninformed, right, was a no-go. So I think he just wanted to kill that idea quite firmly at this stage.
Eric, is the ECB becoming more and more, quote-unquote, data dependent? And if so, what data is it actually focusing on?
They've always been data dependent. This is sort of one of these things that we kind of, it's a disease from the Fed, if you don't mind me saying. A central bank is data dependent. Oh, that's all what it is, right? You're looking at your data, you put it into your model, and you do the best you can to forecast whether you can see your targets on the horizon, right? And in the case of the ECB, it's the inflation, it's the headline inflation number. What do they look at it beyond that? They look at inflation expectations. More than they should, in my opinion, because the five-year is not necessarily a fantastic indicator where it's going for a number of reasons we could talk about. But they're looking at a five-year for sure, but also at the other inflation expectation numbers. But it's all about closing the output gap, getting core inflation back towards sort of the 2%. And there, of course, the noise around the core in terms of the headline inflation, which is their real target.